It's the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week. Tonight, from the Kingdome, it's the Yankees with Dwight Gooden going up against the Seattle Mariners and Ken Griffey Jr. It's the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week. In 1984, at age 19, Dwight Gooden burst upon the New York scene with a promise of greatness.
Dwight Gooden has set a new Major League record for strikeouts by a rookie pitcher.
A year later, at 20, he was already baseball's most dominant pitcher, winning 24 games and the Cy Young Award. At age 21, he was the ace of the staff on the best team in baseball. Throughout his 20s, he was one of baseball's premier pitchers. But before his 30th birthday, a substance abuse problem caused him to be banned from the game for nearly 2 seasons. Now, at the age of 31, with everything to prove all over, Gooden has once again burst upon the New York scene. Tonight, it's Gooden against the Mariners on the Sunday Night Game of the Week. Tonight, from the Kingdome, the big crowd is gathering, and here in Seattle, all roads seem to lead to the Kingdome these days. More than 100,000 fans were here for the first 2 games of this series, and more than 40 should be here tonight. Now, in the American League East, the Yankees being challenged by Baltimore, and Baltimore winning today, the Yankees just a game ahead of them. Over in the West, the defending champions, the Seattle Mariners, 4 games back at Texas. Texas also won today. Well, as you can hear, the folks here are they're ready to rumble here. The Mariners and the Yankees, it's turned into a great rivalry since last October, as you might imagine. And Dwight Gooden going for the Yanks tonight in a big ball game. And Gooden has become the Yankees' ace. He's won 3 in a row, including that no-hitter 12 days ago against these Mariners. Now, Joe Morgan talked to Ken Griffey, the Mariner great, before the ball game about facing Dwight Gooden.
The other day, when you faced Dwight, he pitched a no-hitter, but that was the first time you ever faced him, right?
Yeah, it's the first time I faced him, and he was on today. He had everything working for him. Hopefully today we can get to him early and often. But Doc has really worked hard, and I think he's back.
What about this? What pitch bothered you the most? Fastball, curveball? What are you going to do different today than the first day?
I'm gonna lay off the outside high fastball.
Well, now Dwight Gooden won't have to face Jay Buhner tonight. Buhner out of action with a bad knee. However, Joe Morgan, this Seattle ball club is a lot more than Ken Griffey Jr., even with Buhner out of there. What a lineup, leading the majors in homers and runs scored.
Well, with the emergence of shortstop Alex Rodriguez as a power force, this team's going to rival the Cleveland Indians before the season is over. But I think Dwight Gooden is going to have a lot more pressure on him tonight than the Mariners will. They had never seen Gooden before they faced him in New York. They have all seen him now. They will all go in with a game plan tonight, whereas last time they just went in swinging the bats.
All right. Dwight Gooden coming off that no-hitter 12 days ago. He also beat Oakland in his last start. He's won 3 in a row. We're coming up from Seattle. Stay with us. John Miller, Joe Morgan, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball's Game of the Week from the Kingdome in Seattle. And you can see a big crowd has gathered once again here in Seattle. Now, Joe Torre, the new manager of the Yankees, and the Yanks have hit real well, and they have scored a lot of runs, too. But it's been the Yankee pitching that really has kept them at the top of the American League East. And here's his batting order for tonight. Wade Boggs leads off at third base. Joe Girardi, the former Rocky, the catcher. Paul O'Neill, second in the league in hitting in right field. It'll be Tino Martinez, the former Mariner, at first base. Ruben Sierra, the DH. Mariano Duncan just back from the DL at second base. Gerald Williams, who's been sensational in left field. And the young, outstanding prospect, Ruben Rivera in center field, and Derek Jeter, he's the shortstop. On the mound for the Seattle Mariners, just recalled from the minor leagues, right-hander Paul Menhart.
And there you see Menhart's record. Has a good changeup and a couple of different fastballs, a sinking fastball and a riding fastball. The problem is he's going to have to throw strikes tonight and stay ahead of the hitters.
Wade Boggs leads it off. Now, the Yankees won here last night after getting pounded on Friday night. And they won last night, getting a 5-run second inning against Edwin Hurtado of the Mariners, who, right after the game, was sent down to the minor leagues to make room for Menhart. The Mariners have really been scrambling for starting pitching in the absence of Randy Johnson. The first pitch on the outside corner, and we are underway here in the Kingdom. By the way, Randy Johnson on the disabled list with a bulging disc in his lower back, and we're expecting a visit from Randy here in the booth a little bit later. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Wade Boggs. The Yankees, meanwhile, also hurting with injuries to David Cone. He had surgery for a small aneurysm. They don't even know if he's going to be able to come back this year. And that's ball 2 for Ben Hart. And Jimmy Key back on the disabled list, but working on some things, trying to regain his lost form in Florida. And I mean, not that he's hurt at this moment, but he's trying to put it back together after coming back from surgery. So last night, the Yankees went with a rookie that nobody'd ever heard of around here, Ramiro Mendoza, and all he did was come in and pitch a great game for New York and get the win. That's him in the jacket in the Yankee dugout. And they know who he is now for sure.
How many young people you know could walk in here in front of a full packed house and throw strikes as he did yesterday? No bases on the ball.
No walks before 57,000 Roscoe fans. Well, nobody can get there. The left fielder, Strange, is ordinarily an infielder. There's a lot of foul territory in this ballpark.
Well, because Buhner's out, they've moved Bragg over to right field and put Doug Strange in left field.
Well, Bragg, I have a feeling, Joe, would have caught that ball because on Friday night in this series, he was catching everything.
He's made some great catches in the last few ball games. He would have made a dive for it.
He told Lou to keep him in left field. So Boggs is still up there, 3-2 the count. Griffey. He always makes it look easy. 1 away.
And speaking of defense, let's take a look at the Mariner defense. Alex Rodriguez has only made a couple of errors this season, and he has turned into a bona fide star just about the same time Ken Griffey Jr. did last year. And here's a play against a guy that you've seen play a lot, John. Cal Ripken in the hole. He gets up and fires a strike. Look at that arm.
Oh, what a play. Alex Rodriguez, he told us after that game, Joe, that he prides himself on defense. And we were, you know, he hit a big home run and had won the ball game and all that. But what he wanted to talk about was an error he made later on a more routine play. And he said, you know, that really bugs me. Because he says, I feel as a shortstop, I've got to be strong defensively before everything else. And you like to hear a young guy, particularly, who had that attitude.
Well, Ken Griffey Jr. had that attitude when he first came up.
Joe Girardi, former Colorado Rocky, brought over to replace Mike Stanley. A rather controversial move in New York. But Girardi has done a great job. He's not a home run hitter like Stanley, who averaged 20 home runs a year in 3 years in New York. But they like the way Girardi handles his staff, and they like his influence with the Dwight Goodens and some of the young pitchers as well.
It was interesting. I may step on some toes, but Dwight Goodens said that he was the best catcher he's ever pitched to, which might open a few eyebrows, but raise a few eyebrows, I should say, but that's the way he felt.
2-2 the count. Let's work with a few. That breaking ball. Third base, Soho. A wide throw, but Sorrento stretched out to get it. 2 men down. Girardi retired. And now one of the hot hitters around coming up, Paul O'Neill.
Well, Paul O'Neill has led the American. He was American League batting champion. He came over from Cincinnati, and he's done a great job in the Yankee pinstripes. That ballpark fits him perfectly. If he pulls the ball, he hits it out, and he goes in the gaps left center, right center, and that's why he can hit for such a high average.
O'Neill, second in the league in hitting, as you saw there. Roberto Alomar, the Orioles, had a hit today, and is hitting .401. One strike to count. Well, Menhart, so far so good. He's come out throwing strikes.
Well, he's using 2 different fastballs. I said that was pretty much a straight fastball, and he's throwing one that will sink away from the left-handed hitter. It's a little slower than 91.
There's a breaking ball that misses outside.
Paul O'Neill has a very good eye at the plate. He does not swing at a lot of bad pitches. He tries to work the count in his favor, and then he sits on a fastball and he nails it usually.
Another breaking ball. Bounced foul in the first base section. Now Menhart is in on the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Roberto Alomar, .401. Then Paul O'Neill, .369. But, you know, Albert Bell. He's not leading the league in hitting, but he's leading it in just about everything else. 20 homers, 54 RBIs, and third in the league in batting average. 1-2. inside 2-2.
Well, John, 350 in a lot of years would have won the batting championship, of course. Paul O'Neill and Roberto Alomar off to great starts.
Yeah, remember years where 320 won batting championship. That's how old I am.
He's in search of a triple crown. Change-up, that's the first one that he's thrown in this ball game, and he has a pretty good change-up.
3-2 the count. Well, Menhart was up with the Mariners earlier. There's Tino Martinez. He was up with the Mariners earlier in his career. Had a big year here, and then was traded to the Yankees in the offseason. He would be next. 3-2 to O'Neill. Too low. Well, there's that good eye you were talking about.
He always seems to be able to work the count in his favor and get a good pitch to hit. He did not get a good pitch, so he took a walk. So that's how you hit for a high average. Make sure you get a good pitch to hit each and every time you go to the plate.
O'Neill, you mentioned that good eye. 41 walks, leading the American League in that category. These don't have much power in the lineup. They expect Tino Martinez to start supplying more. His RBIs are up there now at 31, but only 6 home runs. Left field, Strange. The infielder turned outfielder. And that is the inning. One man left for the Yankees. And in a moment, Doc Gooden will be facing that man. That's the view from right up in the middle of the Kingdome in Seattle. Sunday Night Baseball. No scores. We go to the last of the first. Lou Piniella. Seattle Mariners, and they lead the majors in runs per game and also in home runs. They are on a record home run pace right now, threatening the 61 New York Yankees all-time Major League record. It'll be Darren Bragg in right field. Alex Rodriguez, the young sensation at shortstop. Ken Griffey Jr., and he is red hot right now. 5 homers, 16 batted in the last 9 games. It will be Edgar Martinez, the DH. All he is a 2-time batting champion. Paul Sorrento, the former Cleveland Indian, and he's swinging a big bat here. Doug Strange in left because Buhner's out right now. Dan Wilson, who's also grown some home run muscles this year, the catcher. Luis Sojo at third, and Joey Cora, who's in a slump. There's a change, a slump from a Mariner. He's hitting ninth. And on the mound for the Yankees is Dwight Gooden, 3 consecutive wins, and at 4.38 ERA. It was 11 after his first 3 starts.
Well, all he has done, John, is just pitch 3 brilliant games. In fact, he pitched a no-hit ball for 9 innings against the Mariners, but he had 16 2/3 total. So he has been pitching very well. Uses a fastball, a curveball, and he has been experimenting with a changeup and changing the grip on his fastball to get more movement.
Darren Bragg leads it off. And that's too high for ball 1.
And if you're the Mariners, that's the pitch you have to lay off of. You can't chase the high fastball in this ball game, or else he'll get you out easily.
And it's too low. Now, in his no-hitter 12 days ago, he was a little bit wild at times. And he finished up with 6 walks, including 2 walks in the 9th inning. Well, Girardi with walks coming. And hit a speaker. Only in the Kingdome. It ends up in the crowd. Either Girardi or Boggs was going to catch that ball, and it hit one of the speakers and landed in the crowd.
Well, that's a good luck sign for the Mariners, you might say.
So he's going to have to get Bragg out all over again. Well, some places they lose him in the sun.
Right. Well, you see, Girardi thinks he has it, and then he says, oh, well.
Anybody see where that one went? I was sure it was up there somewhere. 2-1 the count to Darren Bragg. So justice was served. He got him out.
Well, Gooden has always been a good fielding pitcher as well as a good hitting pitcher. Obviously, he doesn't have to hit in the American League, but he's been a good fielder all of his career. Ball's chopped, but see how quickly Gooden gets on it, waits, takes his time, and makes a good throw. You do not like to see runners dive into first base. You hurt your fingers, and plus it slows you down. You actually get there quicker if you run through the bag.
Here is the sensational Alex Rodriguez. He is hitting .349. And it's too low for ball 1. He also is hitting with power. He's got 8 homers, 15 doubles, and 35 runs batted in. and he's only made 2 errors at shortstop. Yeah, with numbers like that, they would tend to love Alex Rodriguez.
And John, his career is kind of paralleling Ken Griffey Jr.'s now. They were both very young, and when he first started, he was hitting down in the lineup. They've moved him up to second.
That's a base hit. There will be no hitter tonight.
Since he's moved up to second, he's been hitting over 400, and that's exactly what happened to Ken Griffey Jr. He started off low in the order. They moved him to second in front of Alvin Davis, who was there at the time, and he became a star. And now Rodriguez is hitting in front of Ken Griffey Jr., so he's taking advantage of it. Good pitch there by Gooden, fastball over the outside part of the plate, and he pulled it in the hole for a base hit.
So that sign is also rather appropriate. It would work for this guy, too. Griffey, who was struggling when they went out on the road trip. He was hitting about 250. But look where he is now 2 weeks later, 303. Tied for 5th in the league with 15 home runs. And many of those have come lately. Back to the bag at first is Alex Rodriguez. Rodriguez is only 20 years old. And in a way, Joe, I guess it's appropriate he gets the first hit here tonight because he had the closest call to getting a hit in the no-hitter 12 days ago. Gerald Williams making a great catch against him in center field. There's ball one to Griffey.
Well, let's see if Griffey can lay off the high fastball, as he said that was his problem he had in the last ball game. Gooden starts him off with a changeup on the first pitch.
And that's a little bit different from the old Dwight Gooden. The guy who threw 98 miles an hour. And that breaking one is in the dirt, and down to second will go Rodriguez. That ball went into the Mariner dugout, so he gets just the one base. Regardless.
John, it's kind of like I said at the beginning. I believe there's more pressure on Dwight Gooden tonight. He's trying to be perfect with his pitches as compared to being relaxed and letting it go. After you pitch a no-hitter against a team, you feel like they're going to be coming out after you, and you're going to have to make some changes in the way that you approached them last time. And I think he's trying to be a little too perfect here in the first couple of innings instead of just letting the ball go.
That last one was scored officially as a wild pitch. 2-0 the count to Ken Griffey. I mean, he's in trouble immediately here. And he threw the breaking ball, but he missed. 3-0. Edgar Martinez is on deck. In this series, Griffey, 3 homers, 8 RBIs. That's in 2 games.
Don't be surprised if he doesn't have the hit sign here. He can probably take a shot if he wants to on the 3-0 pitch.
And he took a shot. Not a bad pitch, though, by Gooden. 3-1 the count.
Well, it was 98-mile-an-hour fastball up a little bit. And that's the one that Griffey says he's going to have to lay off of. But if you have a green light and he throws that to you, you figure like you can get on top of it, but he fouled it off.
3-1. I mean, almost instantaneously when a game begins, a pitcher's in trouble facing Seattle.
That's true.
Rodriguez, Griffey, Edgar Martinez. Buhner is not in there tonight, and that may be a relief to Joe Torre. Sorrento hitting 5th tonight. And he curved him. Strike 2.
Well, that's in talking to Gooden yesterday, he said he will be able to tell how he's going to do if he can get the curveball over. He said, if I get the curveball over, it makes my fastball that much better, and they can't sit on it. And you can see Griffey was sitting on dead red there, nothing but a fastball, and he took it, which he's supposed to.
3-2. And again, that high fastball, he managed to fight it off.
Yeah, but see, that curveball made him wait just a little longer, and he was a little late on that fastball. So that's what pitchers talk about when they say changing speeds to make another pitch better. They can throw you off-speed pitches. That fastball looks a little faster because you have to wait just a hair longer, and the ball gets on top of it.
3-2 to Griffey. No score in the game. Last of the first. Rodriguez at second. And he tried to curve him, missed badly with it. And now 2 men are aboard for the Yankee killer, Edgar Martinez. And he has been the Yankees' worst nightmare beginning last October. They could not get him out in the postseason last October. And they have not been able to get him out this weekend either. And not many pitchers around baseball have been able to get him out. He won the batting title last year, his second, and he's hitting .345. He not only has 10 home runs, but 25 doubles. He leads the majors in doubles by plenty. He's on a record pace for doubles. 1 ball and no strikes to Edgar Martinez.
And for those of you who are watching at home, you can watch very clearly Gooden kind of takes his ball out of the glove quickly. That's something that they have worked with, and he's changed in his motion this year.
He's behind again. He doesn't seem real sharp with his control here, Joe. He's been falling behind everybody.
Yeah, but if you watch, John, I believe it's because he's trying to hit the outside edge here, the inside edge there. He is trying to be, I think, a little too perfect with his pitches. But again, that's probably caused by the fact he did pitch a no-hitter against these people last time. There's a little more pressure on him.
That's a high drive gone, and it's failed. Down the left field line. Second deck, a 3-run homer. Edgar Martinez, what a shot.
John, when you pitch from behind, you can't get away with that high fastball. If you're ahead in the count, that high fastball becomes an out pitch for you. But with the count being 2-0, and he comes inside and up, and Martinez is sitting on a fastball, he was able to get around on it.
Now, here is Paul Sorrento. Hard ground ball. Mariano Duncan at second. And that is the second out of the inning. In between the two outs, though, 3 runs scoring on the incredible home run by Edgar Martinez. And that was a Cecil Fielder, Frank Thomas type home run, second deck.
Well, see, the pitch is supposed to be away, but it's up and on the inside part of the plate. And you see Edgar sitting on a fastball, so he's able to crank that pitch, and he jacks it into the second deck. So you cannot pitch from behind against these Seattle Mariners and throw a fastball. You're going to have to throw small speed pitches if you get behind.
Okay, I believe you now. I kept thinking to myself, that can't be right, but now, Joey, I see what you're saying.
This is a good hitting ball club.
Doug Strange, the hitter. And of course, Doug Strange, he's a handy man. He's switch hits. He can play the infield, the outfield. But for Yankee fans, they'll always remember him as the guy that drew the bases-loaded walk against David Cone last October in that final game of the divisional series. That brought in the tying run of that game in the 8th inning. And of course, eventually, the Mariners won that ball game against Jack McDowell on a 2-run double by who else? Edgar Martinez. I mean, they just can't get this guy out. 2-2 the count to Doug Strange. There's Edgar. I think we can be very sad when this game's over because the Yankees are leaving. Wade Boggs. That ends the inning. But the Seattle Mariners have put 3 runs on the board. Ruben Sierra coming up. The big crowd at the Kingdome in Seattle. The first 2 decks completely filled all the way around this big ballpark, and there are quite a few folks up on the upper deck as well. We should have more than 40,000 here tonight, and more than 140,000 for this 3-game series. They've got the baseball fever here in Seattle. Here's Paul Menhart to Ruben Sierra, and it is ball 1. Well, Dwight Gooden, welcome to the Kingdome. The first time he's ever pitched in this ballpark, and the dimensions here are a little bit different than most big league parks, and you don't get any help from any kind of wind blowing in. And having said that, the ball hit by Edgar Martinez goes out of any ballpark.
Right. But I'll tell you one thing, that may have taken a lot of the pressure off of Dwight, and he may be able to relax. We'll see how hard he throws next inning and see if he's a little more consistent.
1-1 to Sierra. And that's a base hit, cracked into center field. Hustling over to cut it off on that turf is Griffey. First hit for the Yankees against Menhart.
Well, the one thing to remember, there you see the top speed was 90, and he was clocked at 94 and 95 in the 9th inning of his no-hitter. So he's off to a little slow start. I mean, but again, I really believe it's because he was pressing a little bit. And then we'll see when he comes back out, see if he's a little more relaxed, a little more free and easy. But he will have to pitch from ahead against these hitters. He can't pitch from behind against these Mariners.
Here is Mariano Duncan. The bag at first is Sierra. 3-0. Seattle on top here. Well, Gooden, in his start after the no-hitter, faced Oakland last Tuesday at Yankee Stadium. And there's ball one, and a very fine young Oakland hitter. One of the fine young players in the league this year, Jason Giambi. In the first inning of that game, 2 down, hit one off the center field wall for a double. And Gooden did say after the ball game that it wasn't so much it took the pressure off him, but that he said, I've got to settle in here and pitch out. I got Mark McGwire coming up now, and I've got to focus on the job at hand. There was no more thought about a no-hitter or anything else at that point. Helped him, I guess the way to put it would kind of helped him settle into the rhythm of the game, which he obviously wasn't able to do in the first inning of this ball game. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mariano Duncan. He's back to the disabled list, and a wild throw by Menard. And Sierra should be able to get all the way to third. It's into the bullpen area. And he'll stop at third as the throw comes in. Well, as we saw in that playoff game last October, right here on ESPN, a big game where the Mariners won the West for the first time. It's live out there in the bullpen area. When Soho hit that ball down there, they kept running all the way through.
In this ballpark, if you're a pitcher, you have to take a little more time in your release to first base and make sure you make a good throw, because you're not giving 1 base away. You're giving at least 2 away when you throw the ball down into that bullpen.
And why was he throwing over there anyway? Sierra, they're down by 3. Sierra's not a base stealer to begin with.
That's what Lou was thinking.
Nice pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Duncan.
We talked about his changeup being a very good pitch. And here's his changeup. And you can see the rotation.
1 ball and 2 strikes now. Gerald Williams on deck. Broken back. Cleanly played by Soho. Holding Sierra on the play. There is 1 away. Tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, it's Game 5 of the NHL Western Conference Finals. The Cup playoffs tomorrow and Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. There's a little bad blood there in between Colorado and Detroit as well. That's ball 1 to Gerald Williams.
How can you play hockey without having bad blood between the two of them? You're bouncing off each other for 3 quarters.
1 ball and no strikes to Gerald Williams. And Menard passed the curve, and it's too high. 2-0 the count. Gerald is hitting .343. And he has kind of played his way into the heart of his manager, Joe Torre. Bernie Williams, the regular center field, has been on the disabled list and has just been activated tonight, but is not in the lineup. On the fists. Alex Rodriguez out. Strange in. Sierra tagging and bluffing. 2 down. And now another young sensation, although he has not yet been here long enough to talk about what he's done in the big leagues, but Ruben Rivera up because of the injury to Bernie Williams. And look what he's done in the few days that he's been here. He had a big double on Thursday to help beat the Oakland Athletics at Yankee Stadium in his first at-bat. He hit a 2-run double.
Well, Johnny wasn't hitting that well in the minor leagues, 240 something, but they feel like maybe he will hit better in the major leagues because the pitchers are around the plate all the time, and he had a tendency to chase pitches in the minor leagues.
2 down, runner at third.
Well, he knows how to get out of the way. I like that.
You've seen that quickness already.
Yeah, I like that.
It looked like some kind of breaking ball that got away.
It was a breaking ball that Rivera said, I need to get out of the way, and he does so.
I'm talking to Don Zimmer and Reggie Jackson, who's with the Yankees, about Ruben Rivera. You see Sierra at third base, 2 down. That was over the middle of the plate for a strike, 1 ball, 1 strike. And they said, hey, he's got all the ability that Ken Griffey had when he came up, except he runs faster and he's got a better arm. He's got all the power and the ability. Whether or not he'll be able to do what Griffey's done at the big league level, they can't say. But they can tell you that every time a team talks trade with the Yankees, they say, well, we're interested in this guy, Ruben Rivera. And, of course, then the talks end.
But it sounds like that word potential. We know what Clint Griffey Jr. can do.
Yeah, we've seen it happen. And, of course, entirely different backgrounds and everything else. Ruben Rivera from Panama, and they didn't even play baseball in his high school. He played soccer and basketball as a youngster. And his friends finally invited him when he was about 15 or 16. He said, why don't you come over to the Sandlot and play baseball with us? And he played. The scouts saw him. And the Yankees signed him at a very young age. He signed when he was 16. 3-1. 3-0, the score. The Mariners lead. Into left center field, and he has driven in the Yankees' run. Sierra scores, and Ruben Rivera with his 5th hit and 5th RBI.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, he is fast. I was watching him. He's quick getting down the line. They didn't want to throw him a fastball, but they got behind 3-1 and had to. They even jammed him a little bit, but he's got a pretty level swing there, and that's what keeps the ball on the line rather than a pop-up. But you could see that they know he's from the minor leagues. They want to try to see him hit some breaking balls. They throw him a lot of curveballs. They continue to miss with him and had to come inside with a fastball.
Now, as we sort of have a theme here tonight of young talent, outstanding young talent. And here's the outstanding young shortstop of the Yankees, Derek Jeter. Soho from third. By a step. The Yanks get 1 run back, 3-1 Seattle as we go to the last half of the 2nd inning from the Kingdome. So Joe and I are always saying, why do they call Randy Johnson the big unit? and now we found out. Randy, welcome to the telecast. And first of all, I mean, how's the back? What's the latest story about when you might be back?
Well, I don't think they're going to rush me this time, and we're just sitting and waiting to see how my leg. Actually, it's my leg. I'm getting some impulses from my sciatic nerve from the bulging disc is hitting the nerve, and it's sending twitches down my leg and getting situation in my calf where it's cramping and I just can't pitch with that sensation right now.
Well, I have a question. I'd like to know, how would you defend Shaquille O'Neal?
I don't think there'd be too much boxing out here.
Here's Dan Wilson, the battery mate of Randy Johnson ordinarily, and Wilson takes ball 1. Well, Randy, obviously, I mean, you're such an important figure on this Mariner ball club, the man they look to win losing streaks, to pitch the big ball games. And they miss you so terribly. And I know you did kind of rush back at first because you did pitch 1 game, and then you realized probably it was a bad idea.
Well, there may have been a setback from that. The injury initially happened in Milwaukee the end of April, and then I pitched again 5 days later in Texas, and that's when I came down with my leg problem from the resulting from the bulging disc with the nerve going into my right leg, and took 11 days off. Took 11 days off from that and tried pitch again here in Kansas against Kansas City here, and it just didn't happen. And I believe that I'm rushing myself, and Lou and myself and some of the doctors sat down and felt that it'd be best just to sit down and rest and let it completely heal.
Luis Sojo coming up now after the walk to Dan Wilson. Now, watching Dwight Gooden here, and I'm interested in your take on Dwight, because Dwight, of course, was one of the ultimate power pitchers in years past. He's kind of changed his game a little bit, but he's a little off tonight, it looks like. What do you think?
Well, after throwing a no-hitter, I think everybody puts expectations. Everybody's watching. Obviously, he's already had a game after his no-hitter against Oakland, but coming back here against the same team that you threw a no-hitter against, everybody's watching. So he's more or less under a microscope.
Second baseman Rivera is under this one, and Sojo is retired. It's kind of hard to see Sojo without thinking of you in that playoff game here against Langston and the Angels last October.
His hit down the first base line, that's what really broke the tie, and we went on and won the ball game. It was
well, here's in fact where you wrapped it up against Tim Salmon, and what a moment.
It was a great throw for not only for the ball team and all the players, but the city of Seattle.
Now here is where Lou brought you in the extra inning game as a reliever. Struck out Boggs. You got Gerald Williams. And eventually, you got the win in that ball game. Fly ball to right here as we're back into the present day Kingdome. Joey Cora has flied out to O'Neill in right field. 2 down with Wilson still at first, and Darren Bragg is coming up. But, Joe and I were talking about this, and Joe, I mean, you were just as amazed as I was. I mean, that stretch of games, that in 1 week, the playoff, and then the start you made in Game 3 of the playoff series against the Yankees, and then coming into relief. I mean, you had to win all 3 of those ball games. The Mariners had to win them. And in the clutch, you did. I mean, what a stretch of clutch pitching. One of the greatest stretches anybody's ever had.
Well, I think it was, you know, for a professional athlete to excel during the regular season. It's another thing to see that same professional athlete excel in postseason when there's a little more pressure. And last year, all the players that excelled in regular season excelled in the postseason. Edgar Martinez went on to do well in the Yankee series, hitting over 500, and Jay and Junior and you know, everybody else. We pulled together, and great things happened from that. And it's a, you know, a moment that I'll never forget, because I've never been in postseason at the major league level or anywhere in my you know, baseball career. So it was a great moment for myself.
Well, you're right. It does separate the men from the boys, so to speak. There have been a lot of great pitchers in Major League Baseball who did not pitch well in postseason. They'd have great regular season records and then lose in postseason. So there is a difference.
Runner going. Dan Wilson, man, what speed. I didn't know your battery mate had this kind of speed, Randy.
Well, that's news to me.
But Dwight Gooden is pretty deliberate coming to the plate, and he's still, even though he's lowered his leg kick, it's still pretty high. Watch how long he takes. So he's actually pretty slow in his delivery, even though that's slow motion. So he gives you time to run.
Well, the running game of Dan Wilson, there it is again. That runs his season total for stolen bases to 1. Well, Dwight Gooden, he was never very good at holding would-be base stealers in the old days either. Aaron Bragg with a count of 2-2 now. Well, I mean, you must, as great a competitor as you are, must be really grinding on you to not be in there and see the ball club having a scuffle like this in the rotation.
Well, it's extremely difficult to, I came back, you know, I was able to see Dwight Gooden's no-hitter, and then after that game, I came home back to Seattle, and so I was here in Seattle as the team was on the East Coast, so I haven't been able to partake in anything. I was watching all the games on TV, and, you know, I can't go out there and even play catch right now with my back, and it's extremely difficult to not be able to partake in anything right now.
Randy Johnson here with us as Dwight Gooden gets out of the second inning, striking out Bragg. Top of the order, Boggs, Girardi, and O'Neill coming up for New York. The ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week is brought to you by the more than 1,300 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. It was a beautiful day here in Seattle in the Pacific Northwest, and right now, inside the Kingdome, the Mariners leading Dwight Gooden and the Yankees 3-1. John Miller, Joe Morgan here with you, and we're glad to be joined by Randy Johnson as we go to the top of the third inning. Wade Boggs leads it off against Paul Menhart, and there is a called strike. Now, Joe and I were talking to Randy and enjoying it up here, Joe, but, you know, Randy really wanted somebody that he could talk to that he can relate to.
Well, actually, I just wanted to show you who I was going to be playing basketball with against you two. I found my partner.
Yeah. Well, Bill Russell, great NBA star, good friend of yours, Joe, has also joined us here. So Randy doesn't feel, you know, so out of it with a couple of, you know, small people like us.
Well, I'll let you guard them when they go in the post, and then I'll guard them out on the wing. How's that?
Well, I'm taking Randy because his leg's not good right now. Yeah. They're pounding him right in the back. 1 ball on Tuesday, and you can handle Russell.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. Joe's always said that he thought he could just go right in and stuff one over Russell. I don't know if he said that to you, Bill, but he's always told.
No, John, I was a shooter. I played outside. Give him a shooter. I was a shooter.
2-2 to Wade Boggs. 3-1 the score. The Mariners on top of the Yankees. Top of the third. Girardi will follow, and then O'Neill. Randy, you watched Paul Menhart here tonight, and he really struggled early in the season. You see anything different with him now that he's come back?
Well, he's the same as Solomon Torres. He struggled as he was up at the major league level, and then they sent him down to Tacoma and to work out some things. But, you know, this ball club that we have is made up of primarily young, inexperienced pitchers, and I think you'll find that throughout the league, and that might be one reason why, if you look out at the scoreboard, why the scores are so high in the American League, is that there's a lot of young pitchers. If you look at the number 1 and number 2 starting pitchers for any American League team. They're veterans, but as you go down their rotation, number 3, number 4, number 5 starters, they're young kids, inexperienced kids. They have to learn. There's no doubt about that, but you know, they're going to get knocked around a little bit, and our bullpen is young and inexperienced, but we have some leadership down there, and you know, it's just a matter of going through the rough ride here for some of the young kids, but no better way to learn than at the major league level.
High pop-up, shallow center field, and Alex Rodriguez takes it, and Wade Boggs is retired for out number 1. Menhardt's gotten him twice now, and when a pop-up goes way up there, I mean, it goes way up there. Here's the Mariners rotation right now. Sterling Hitchcock has done a very good job. Former Yankee. Wolcott. Malacky, the veteran, has been brought in. Made a couple of starts. Hurtado just got sent back to the minor leagues yesterday. And Menhardt brought back for this start. And both Randy Johnson is here with us and Chris Bosio on the disabled list. And losing Bosio hurts greatly as well.
Without a doubt. I mean, you have to have some leadership on the rotation, in the rotation. And with myself and Chris Bosio out right now, the only leadership that we can give the young pitchers out there is sitting and talking to them and trying to go over some of the hitters during the course of the game and kind of give them positive reinforcement as they're pitching.
2-0 the catcher, Joe Girardi. 1 out, nobody on. 3rd inning, Mariners 3, the Yankees 1. Paul O'Neill is on deck. Here's Alex Rodriguez. 2 men gone. How would you pitch to Joe Morgan?
You mean the one that would be in a low crouch?
In for effect and get them out of the way.
I mean, really, I mean, with your stuff and the command that you've developed over the years, I mean, it seems like you pitch everybody almost the same, and you can do that. Is that an overstatement? Or?
Well, I think, you know, there's being a power pitcher, there's no secret about that. But, you know, I also, you know, have to go out there and pitch a little bit. You can't try and overpower people, and I've come to that conclusion over the last couple of years, and I think that's one reason why I've been a little bit more successful now is actually going out there and pitching and using both sides of the plate and you know, mixing my pitches up. But for the most part, on a given day, you know, sure, I'm going to go right at guys with my fastball, but no matter how hard you throw, you know, you can't throw by everybody at all the time, too.
That's what Joe was saying, that he faced you.
No, I think that was a good example of what you're talking about. Opening day, you threw Frank Thomas a fastball, he hit a home run.
Sure.
The next 2-3 times up, you threw him breaking balls, you struck him out, he was chasing it, so you had to make adjustments. And I think a true power pitcher, that's all he had with the fastball, he would have had to continue to challenge him with a fastball, yet you had someplace else to go.
Right. Well, and I think, you know, as time goes on, as I've been in the league now, all the hitters know that I'm a power pitcher, and they're looking to, you know, hit a fastball. So I think, you know, if I can have control of any of my other pitches, sometimes I can get them off balance as well. So
I think the thing that impressed me most about seeing you the beginning of last year and so far this year is that when you throw that curveball, or what do you call that?
we would call it a slider.
A slider, and it starts off the plate outside and then breaks over the outside corner. I have never seen a right-hander get a base hit off of that pitch.
2-2 to O'Neill. He knocked him out. Joey Cora. 3 up and 3 down. Menhardt looks good. Randy Johnson, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
All the best to you. Hope to see you out there soon again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to Bill Russell as well. Ken Griffey Jr. will be batting second when home. 3-1. The Mariners against the Yankees. Last of the 3rd. Alex Rodriguez against Dwight Gooden, and a fastball is up and in for ball 1. Rodriguez got that 3-run rally started with a solid single to left. He is only 20 years old. He'll turn 21 in late July. And he was involved in this wild game in Baltimore 9 days ago. 14-13, Baltimore won. He had a grand slam and drove in 6 in that game. Looked like he was going to be the hero with an 8th inning grand slam to put his team ahead. And he takes a call strike 2 with a curveball. After the game, he said, Alex, you ever been involved in a game like that? He says, oh, yeah, but not since all the way back in high school, 2 years ago. He's a young guy, Joe.
Well, you see, Gooden pitching a little differently the second time around. First time up, he went out and got a fastball and pulled it in the hole. So Gooden started him off with a fastball up and in to keep him from leaning out over the plate. And now he stayed away since that first pitch.
High in the air to right field. It's a short porch up there. O'Neill is back. Home run!
tells you it's almost impossible to make real good pitches here in this ballpark because this was a pop-up. He was late on it, and it's a fastball away, and he's late, and he pops it up, and the ball still goes out of the ballpark. You can see he did not have a good swing.
It's only 312 feet to the foul pole in the corner, and not much deeper to the part where he hit it, and it just barely made it over that wall out there. Here's Griffey, who lifts a foul out of play. Now, Fenway Park has the short wall in left field, the big wall there. Here in Seattle, they have a 23-foot high wall in right field, and Rodriguez did what a lot of lefties have done at Fenway over the years, just hit a high fly ball and just made it. Routine catch almost anywhere else. Griffey pops it out. Walked his first time. Boggs takes this one, and there is one away. 4-1, Seattle ahead. The 9th home run of the year for Rodriguez. Here comes Edgar as Griffey heads back to the dugout. You know, Dwight Gooden, before this game, had given up only 3 home runs this year. Now he's given up 2 in 2 1/3 innings tonight. 1 to this guy. And, of course, Edgar's was,
well, his was a
big
run.
fly.
Yeah, his was a big fly. That was a Kingdome home run, the last one. But Edgar really put a charge into his.
Hit it hard right to Jeter. Get Edgar out. You have to call the papers.
Well, what they'll do is have to try to remember how they did it.
Yankees retire Edgar Martinez. This could be an extra edition, Joe. I mean, truly, you go back to last October. I mean, Edgar's hitting over 500 against New York. Here is Paul Sorrento. Pretty good pickup, I thought. They traded away Tino Martinez, who had 31 homers for him, but they get this guy who had 25 for Cleveland last year. Pretty good first baseman as well. And he should hit a few here with that short right field porch. Here's Tino, the former Mariner, now with the Yanks. That's a base hit for Sorrento. Now Doug Strange will come up.
That seemed like it was a changeup because, yeah, he slowed his arm speed. You could see it, and maybe Martinez saw it at the plate. That was a changeup, and he slowed his arm down, and you could see that it was going to be a changeup about halfway there. Sorrento jumped all over it.
Doug Strange, the hitter, grounded to third his first time. Fastball over the outside for a call strike. The home run in this inning, Alex Rodriguez. Now, Rodriguez, talk about irony, almost did not play tonight. He has apparently a case of the stomach flu and was not doing well before the game. Let me put it that way, Joe.
When you're young, like he is, pretty much bulletproof, so you figure you can do anything.
Look at this. There's Rodriguez on the left, Edgar on the right there. Those two plus Griffey. 16 hits and 33 bats in this series. They've driven in 15 runs in a 3-game series. That's just the 3 of them. That doesn't include Buhner or Sorrento or anybody else. Oh, and 2 the count to Strange. 2 down. Sorrento at first. 4-1. The Mariners on top. The most prolific offense so far. They've outscored even Cleveland up till now, but although it's early in the year. I mean, Cleveland is loaded again this year. 1-2 the count to Doug Strange. Well, a few National League pitchers, when they've come to this league, Joe, have realized early on that things are a little bit different over here.
Well, when I talked to him yesterday, he said the biggest difference between the American League and National League is the smaller ballpark. And obviously he's had a taste of that here tonight, this being a small ballpark. And of course, Yankee Stadium is small down the line.
Yeah, Yankee Stadium is really a better ballpark if you're a left-handed pitcher, with the big expanse out there in left center field. 2-2 to Strange. Third is White Powell in the bullpen area. It's the Yankee bullpen. 2-2 the count. So Strange making good work here in the 3rd inning. This has been a great story here in Seattle. Last year became the refuse to lose season. And they started getting the big crowds toward the end of September and through the postseason. It seemed like everybody discovered the Mariners all of a sudden. And now this year, those fans have been here from the beginning. That's foul. We'll go back to the screen. And even now, Joe, 2 months into this season, there's signs in store windows all around town that say, at the Mariners logo, and they say, you gotta love these guys. Refuse.
You figure it out.
Oh, refuse. Oh, I see. I thought it was a refuse to lose banner, but that was
okay.
A refuse banner, Joe. And you see they had a Yankee who was being dumped into the garbage.
I got you.
See,
That was a Yankee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 2-2 the count. Nice curveball by Gooden. That's the inning. 1 run, though, on the high fly ball homer by Rodriguez. Tino Martinez coming up for the Yanks. John Miller, Joe Morgan from the Kingdome in Seattle. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Mariners 4, the Yankees 1 as we head to the 4th inning. And the cleanup hitter for the Yankees, Tino Martinez, to bat against his former team. Tino finds a shallow left his first time. That's a ball strike to the outside. All Tino had to do was come into New York and replace Don Mattingly. There were easier jobs, I think, than that.
Yes.
And then, to make matters worse, he got up to a very slow start. Didn't get a hit at Yankee Stadium. I think his first 15 at-bats or so. 0-1 the count. Menhart misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think the one thing they have to be careful of with Martinez is thinking that he is a slugger. And he's really not. He's trying to become a good hitter. He uses the entire field, so he's not going to hit 30 or 40 home runs every year.
Griffey. Place to get him to hit in this ballpark. And that is out number 1. Tino Martinez retired. 1 away in the 4th inning. Meanwhile, we have a camera out on the roof of the Kingdome. Here's Elliott Bay. We're hard on the shores of Elliott Bay, near the ferry terminal, the Washington State ferry system. Just a spectacular scene down there. And then the skyline of the beautiful city of Seattle, near sunset here in the Pacific Northwest. Actually, we're a couple of hours from sunset here. But if we were back east, we'd already be there, Joe. That's what that's what I mean. There's ball 1 to Ruben Sierra. I get so confused with all this travel. Sierra singled his first time, and he scored the Yankees' only run. That's a foul on the left field line. Sierra, 6 homers and 26 RBIs. I think the Yankees like a little more power out of him.
Now, I was talking to him before the ballgame, John, and he said that everyone's staying away from him, away. And as you mentioned, in Yankee Stadium, it's tough for a left-hander if he doesn't pull the ball to hit a lot of home runs.
At the left center, you've got to hit it a long way. 399 to left center at Yankee Stadium. But Sierra's also a guy that it's tough to walk in. And Joe Torre has talked with him about being a little more patient. He's got 22 walks already this year, which is a very high figure for him. And that's down and in for a ball. 2-1.
I don't know why Joe is saying that. He didn't walk either. When he was a player, he was a hitter. And he was a very good hitter.
One time, a batting
champion with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Remarkable years because he hit 363 and he was a slow runner. I mean, he wasn't beating out bouncers to third. Very good hitter. Very good hitter as a catcher for a long time. 3-1 to Sierra. And there's the walk. Well, this is the new Ruben, Joe. 1 out, 1 on. They'll only be playing in the Kingdome for a couple of more years. They've got plans in the works here for a new ballpark, and they would put it just south of the Kingdome, right over there, right where you see all of those cars in that parking lot there. The new ballpark will have about 48,000 seats, and it will be a natural turf with a retractable roof. And when the roof is in closed position, the ballpark will not be totally sealed like the Sky Dome in Toronto. The roof will be more like a canopy. Or a carport.
Yeah.
How West Coast of you.
Yes.
And they're actually going to make the field a little bit bigger, too, Joe. Alex Rodriguez would not be able to hit a home run like the one he hit here tonight. They're talking about making about 325 to the right field foul pole. A little bit deeper. And making the power alleys like 390 to right center in the new ballpark. 389 to left center.
Now, 390 might be a little too large.
And Mariano Duncan, the count of 0-2. Mariano grounded to third his first time. So they got this new ballpark in the works, and probably it happened because the Mariners did so well last year.
No doubt about it. The vote occurred, and people were saying that baseball does belong here in Seattle, and they made sure that it stayed by voting to put up a new stadium.
So it's almost like people voted by showing up here at the ballpark.
Right.
0-2 the count to Duncan. Schultz with a barehanded pickup. He got it. Nice play. I don't know if he gets him if he plays that one with a glove.
Well, he made a fine play to retire Mariano, but going down to second is Sierra. Now watch this. This is one thing about the AstroTurf. You always get a true hop, so it's much easier to barehand the ball. You see the ball bounces up nicely. Soho grabs it and fires to first in time to get Duncan. Duncan has never been a real speedy runner, but it was still a very nice play there by Soho.
So 2 down with Sierra at second. Here is Gerald Williams. Gerald, he's had a very strong talent, but has never been able to find a regular job with the Yankees. Pretty good outfielder. That is ruled a swing by John Shulock, the appeal. Gerald has 13 brothers and sisters. He's the 9th child. And I was impressed, Joe, because if you're a baseball fan, he recommends George Will's book to you, Men at Work, which really gets down behind the scenes and some inside stuff in baseball, which tells me he's trying to learn about the game, even though he's already here in the big leagues. 1 ball, 1 strike to Gerald. He's got the chance to play this year and is hitting .340. Last year hit .247. But look what he's done so far this year. And they've needed his big back too with some injuries. Tim Raines is back in the disabled list. He's missed most of the year up till now. Bernie Williams has been out the last couple of weeks. And Gerald may have saved Gooden's no-hitter with it. Spectacular catch and a ball hit by Alex Rodriguez in that ball game. That hurt.
Well, you can see they wanted to pitch him inside, and that was the game plan. Come in on him and then, throwing breaking balls away. This fastball is way inside, plus it's running. It's running in farther on the right-hander. It started off the plate inside, just tailed in, and as you said, it probably hurt. Gerald not too happy about it. You see that fastball, the rotation is boring in on him, and he really had no chance of getting out of the way of that pitch.
2 men on, 2 men out, and here is Ruben Rivera, the young Yankee prospect, who's had quite a week. 5 hits, 9 at-bats, and 5 RBIs. This is his 4th game. He singled home a run in the second. Kind of a bloop out there in the left center field where nobody was.
And they still believe that he has problems with the curveball. They've thrown him all but 1 pitch has been a curveball. The 1 pitch he got a base hit on was a fastball.
Ooh, look at that slider on the outside. 1-1. Well, he'd give a lot of hitters trouble with that kind of pitch, wouldn't he?
Yes. Well, this is a good breaking ball away, but the veteran here, you have to lay off of this because you're ahead in the count anyway, and if it's a strike, take it because you can't hit it.
1 ball, 1 strike to count to Ruben Rivera. 2 on, 2 out. 4-1 Seattle. Breaking ball, but that looked pretty fat to me, Joe.
Yeah, he actually looked like he was looking for something farther away, and that was a breaking ball almost in the middle of the plate. Kind of a hanger.
That's not where this guy, Menhard, wanted to put it, but he got away with it.
Don't want to throw that one again. Not too often in this game.
Let's see what would happen if it's 2 again. He's ahead of the youngster, 1-2. Now we'll see his speed. Soho tries it again. Got him again. 2 times in the same inning. Soho with the barehanded pickup. This time he got a very fast runner. The side is retired. 4-1 Seattle. to 3.5. 4-1 Mariners, and quite a play by Luis Sojo to end the Yankee half of the fourth inning. And now the Mariners come to bat against Dwight Gooden. Dan Wilson walked his first time. A hockey game may break out here soon, Joe.
Yeah.
Gerald Williams got hit by a pitch, and all of a sudden one goes behind Dan Wilson.
Well, now there's a warning issue to Gooden.
And also to his manager, Joe Torre, who comes out. Ed Hickox is the home plate umpire.
Well, anytime you throw a ball behind a hitter, I think you're out of line, personally, especially if it's intentional. But obviously the Yankees were upset at the fact that Bernie Williams was hit by a pitch. I mean, Gerald Williams. Bernie's still sitting on the bench. He may play today, but Gerald Williams was hit, and I'm sure that was part of it, but at least he threw it down by his legs. He didn't throw it up by his head and behind him.
And the curveball is too high. 2-0 to Dan Wilson.
And a lot of times, because the catcher is the one receiving the ball, you like to pick him out to retaliate against.
Yeah, can't throw it to Paul Menhart.
Maybe just a little while.
Now here comes Piniella. Piniella wants to go talk to Hickox, because the rule is if you've been warned and then the umpire thinks that you throw at somebody intentionally again, you're supposed to be ejected. And that's what Pinella's arguing about.
Yeah, but he's saying that that wasn't intentional. But obviously he thought the first one was because he warned Dwight, but this one he just thinks the ball got away from him.
3-0 to Dan Wilson. I'm just going to take a guess here, but I'm saying Girardi's not going to call for one inside this time, Joe. But look where he was set up that time. This one is on the outside. I mean, Girardi set up on the outside the last pitch.
Yeah.
3-1 the count. He's right there again.
And he's set up on the outside again.
And now Dwight's got his control back. 3-2 the count to Wilson. Curveball, and he just does get a piece of it. 3-2.
I tell you what, that's a little nasty pitching there, because you throw one behind you, one inside, and then fastball away, and then throw you a 3-2 curveball.
He's showing a lot of respect to this guy, Dan Wilson.
No, I think he's showing that he really wants to get him out. Well, he's finally gotten more strikes than balls.
Really had to battle tonight with a lack of control. There's the curve, and he just got a piece of it again. Good work here by Wilson. He fought off a couple of real tough curveballs with 2 strikes.
Well, this is a good breaking ball from Gooden, and you can see the rotation there. You see a little hole in it. There were times early in his career when they said his rotation was so tight you really couldn't see that hole in the ball.
3-2 the count. And he walked it. So Wilson has walked for the second straight time. Now Luis Sojo coming up, and he made a fabulous play to get Ruben Rivera in the top half of this inning.
Well, Rivera really runs well, so he knows he's got to hurry. He comes a long way to get it. One step, and he gets rid of it, and he just barely nips Rivera at first base, because he runs very, very well down the line.
Wilson is aboard. Here is Sojo at the plate. One of the heroes of that playoff game, which we had exclusively on ESPN last October. You don't often get a playoff for a pennant or a divisional title over the years, but the Angels and the Mariners had one last year. And Sojo got the big hit of the game. Bases loaded. Had a fair ball on the ground past first base, and everybody scored. Bunt center and misses. 1 strike to count to Sojo. 4-1, Seattle ahead here in the last of the 4th inning.
Well, John, the reason you do not have many playoffs because 162 ball games is supposed to separate the teams. So very unusual when you get 2 teams with identical records over 162 ball games.
Or as was the case last year.
144,
yeah. And a foul, but it has not often happened over the years. And it'll be interesting to see. I mean, in a way, it's like the Angels haven't quite recovered from it yet. I mean, they're really struggling early on in 1996. There's Jay Buhner. He was one of the big guys as the Mariners made that great comeback last year. And he just had a breakthrough. He hit 40 home runs a year ago. And he's on his way to looking like he might just do it again. Got 16 homers this year. It's a ball inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. California, with a win today, is 2 games below 500. You know, last summer, the Angels, they just got it going, and for a while, they were almost unbeatable.
Now, I agree with something Chili Davis says, and that is that they miss Tony Phillips, not just his...
Back to Gooden. The second one. Jeter back to first. Pull off the bat. Soho safe at first on the four-side. Wilson retired at second.
We talked about Dwight Gooden making a change in his delivery. We'll show you what those 2 changes are. Take a look right here at how high his left knee is on this particular. That's the old Dwight Gooden. See, it's still in a lower position here. He will also take his ball out quicker on the right. See how it stays in there a long time on the left. Now watch how quickly he takes the ball out. Right there. Those have been the 2 changes that they figure has made a difference in his delivery and also in his control.
Here's Joey Cora. That's a foul.
They felt like when he took the long delivery and the high leg kick, he had a tendency to overthrow sometimes. Now this shortens everything, makes it more compact, and everything kind of stays together. And in Dwight's words, he was moving all over the place before, and now he's a little more stabilized.
So he kind of simplified the delivery, and he's had better command.
Kind of like Randy Johnson did. Randy Johnson got a couple of tips, I guess, from Nolan Ryan, and he changed his delivery. He shortened everything on his side, and he's made him a better pitcher. There's Mel Stottlemyre. He's the one that made the changes in Dwight Gooden. And, of course, he had seen Dwight for a lot of years because he was with him when he was at the Mets.
Runner going. And that ball was not hit. I mean, Cora, he swung at it. The ball ricocheted, I guess, off the shin guard of Girardi right back to Gooden. And over to second base on the play goes Soho. Running on the pitch, he gets a steal for it.
Yeah. Well, a good job by Cora, because he is supposed to swing. If the hitter runs, you're supposed to swing, not just to make contact, but it also keeps the catcher from jumping out in front. And it hits off the right shin
of the umpire.
Ed Hickox.
Ed Hickox, yeah. There's
the Mariners got a break there.
Girardi ready to head back to the backstop, and the ball was heading back to Dwight. The steal for Soho, his second of the year. 1 out. Curveball, beauty, strike 3 call. With that big dropping curveball. That's that curveball, Joe, comes in, looks like it rises up before it drops down.
Well, it does. It has a hump in it. That's what the hitters will call it. But, I mean, the bottom falls out. You watch it relieve his hand, there's a hump in it. See how it goes up, and then it does come down.
2 down, Darren Bragg, the leadoff man. He's hitting .314. And this curve misses very high. 1 ball and no strikes. Mariners got 3 in the first on the booming home run of Edgar Martinez. The Yanks got 1 in the second on a Ruben Rivera RBI single. And then Alex Rodriguez hit a high fly ball homer into that short porch in right field. 4-1 Seattle. Tries the curve again. 2-0 the count to Darren Bragg. Alex Rodriguez is on deck. 4 runs, 4 hits for the Mariners. 1 run and 2 hits for the Yankees. Quite good, by the way, with that strikeout. That's his 3rd strikeout of the ball game. Also walked 3. And a changeup. It's another new wrinkle. You mentioned it at the outset. A few of those, and he throws a slider every so often.
Well, I think he's a little more in sync now than he was earlier, because before he was really throwing 2 pitches. And it's tough to be a 2-pitch pitcher just with a fastball and a curveball.
chasing that high fastball. Foul tipped into the glove of Girardi. 2-2 the count.
Well, that's what the changeup does. It will make you wait just a hair longer, and then the ball is on you, and you will swing at a lot of bad pitches. See, if he would not have seen that changeup, he probably never would have swung at that pitch. That's why it's important for pitchers to mix their speeds. Even if they're not throwing strikes with it, you still have to throw it. You have to give the hitter a different look.
Soho at second. The curve is in the dirt. Full count now to Bragg. 3-2. Even Darren Bragg, I mean, this guy's been a tough out since he came up for the minor leagues. Hitting .314. This is his 21st game since being brought up, and he immediately got hot when they brought him up. 3-2 the count. A base hit could mean another Seattle run. Gooden trying to keep his club relatively close. The curveball got him looking again. His 4th strikeout. We're heading now to the 5th inning. Jeter will be coming up, then Boggs and Girardi. The Yankees trailing the Mariners 4-1.
Hope you're enjoying your holiday weekend, everybody. Larry Beal in the studio, and Network MCI takes us to Detroit. The beleaguered Detroit pitching staff gave up only 3 hits today to the Indians, but that was one of them. Albert Bell going deep off of Brian Williams, his 20th homer. Let's go back to Seattle to John and Joe as the Indians won that game 5-6.
Thanks, Larry. Ball 1 to Derek Jeter as he leads it off here in the 5th inning for the Yankees. Jeter, ninth base hitter, into deep right. This one is off the scoreboard. Jeter hurrying into second, and he's there with a stand-up double. So Jeter, the 21-year-old Yankee shortstop, plays wall ball out there, as Rodriguez, the 20-year-old Mariners shortstop, hit one just above the wall. So these two young shortstop Jones both not out to play the same game.
Fastball in the middle of the plate. It was down, and he hits it pretty well in the right center field. Actually, it is a little better than Rodriguez did, but hit it to a different section of the ballpark. It's off of the scoreboard, so the ball is in play. Then he hustles into second with a double.
Now Wade Boggs will come up. Derek Jeter. Some very talented young shortstops in baseball. Boggs smashes one into right field, a base hit. Jeter's being waved home. The throw by Bragg too late. They missed the great arm of Buhner there. It is 4-2. Boggs going out of character, swinging at the first pitch.
Well, Wade's job was to make sure he pulled the ball. He got a ball middle of the plate in, so he went ahead and pulled it. It's a fastball in, so he pulls it, lines it hard to right field for a base hit. Bragg has to back up, wait for it, and by the time his throw gets in, Jeter has scored easily.
Got pretty good speed, Joe.
Yeah, he runs well.
This is the full speed replay. Got there quickly. Now Joe Girardi comes up. Nobody out. A run is in, and the Seattle bullpen springs into action here as Menhart gives up a couple of hard base hits. 4 hits now for New York.
And yeah, because New York does not have a lot of power, this is a situation where you may see Joe Torre hit the run because Girardi is good at that.
Rafael Carmona warming up in the Seattle bullpen. Young right-hander. Girardi is grounded at third and grounded to short. Hit what could be a couple of double play balls so far. In a spot like this, they could have been. This is the first time Girardi has come up with somebody on base. Boggs at first. His strength as a leadoff man is just that he gets on base all the time. But once he's there, you've got to hit him around. He does not steal bases. 1 ball and no strikes. Menhart trying to recover here. This could be 2. Bring it to second, corner to first. Double play.
Well, Menhart does the job. He turns the ball over, gets the sinking fastball in, and he grounds it out to shortstop. That's like perfect. 6-4 to 3. It doesn't get any easier than that.
So 2 men are gone. Here is Paul O'Neill. And I'm sure Piniella and Menhart are much happier to see this big guy up there with nobody on base and a 2-run lead.
And that's a good pitch there by Menhart. They threw O'Neill away last time up, got a couple of calls from the umpire, so now they come right in tight on him and tie him up with a fastball. Here, take a look at this pitch. Might have been a strike, but it's inside. O'Neill looking for a ball out over the plate because that's the way they pitched him last time. It's hard for a hitter to go up there and wipe out exactly what happened in the last at bat.
1 ball and 1 strike now to O'Neill. O'Neill has walked and popped out to second. The Yankees have hit only 39 home runs. We say only 39. Remember, they're playing the Seattle club that has hit 84. That's a liner in the left center field. Griffey races over to cut it off, and O'Neill is going to test his arm. He's out. Junior comes through. Rodriguez and then Junior. Coming up, 4-2 Seattle. Sunday Night Baseball continues. Last of the 5th. Here's Alex Rodriguez. It is now 4-2 for the Mariners. Dwight Gooden misses outside, ball 1. Now Rodriguez has lined a single into left field, and he's hit a high, lazy fly for a home run into the short porch in right field. He is 2 for 2. He is now hitting .359. Not technically a rookie. He cannot win the Rookie of the Year award because he's been up before. On the other hand, he's only 20 years old. That is a fair ball, a check swing into the bullpen. O'Neill's got to chase it, but Rodriguez is already into a trot. He's got a double.
Go to the young and gifted. I mean, things happen for you. I mean, he tried to check his swing, but things are going well for him right now. You see, he tried to check it, but hits a line drive inside of the first base bag. Nothing anyone can do. In fact, it hits the outside part of the line, so.
John Shulock right there made the call, and now the big crowd starts to go a little bit nuts because Ken Griffey is coming up. Junior has walked and popped out to third, and he made that sensational throw with an excellent tag by Cora to get O'Neill trying for a double the last time. 4-2 Seattle. Third ball in the dirt for ball 1 now. Another tough inning for Gooden. He's in trouble big time already. You got Edgar Martinez on deck, then Sorrento. Each one of these guys capable of breaking this game open with one swing of the bat now. Which Joe Torre well knows. Last year, when the Yankees came out here to the West Coast, they just could not beat the Mariners. They couldn't beat anybody out on the West Coast last year. That one is drilled deep down the line.
I tell you what, Junior's in a groove right now where, I mean, the bat is just flying through the hitting zone. And you make any mistakes, you're going to be in trouble.
And Van out there hit this one so hard that Van thought better of trying to catch it. I got it. No.
Well, he's smart, first of all. Let Paul O'Neill pick it up and give it to you.
A very smart man out there, that's for sure. 1 ball, 1 strike to count.
Change up, beautiful pitch.
Center field. This is Ruben Rivera. Alex Rodriguez. The young Mariner phenom will not challenge the young Yankee phenom on that one.
Well, I'm going to show you why Paul O'Neill's play wasn't that bad. Griffey's running away from the play. He's left-handed. He has to stop, whirl, and throw. But that's why he wins Gold Glove, and that's why O'Neill is out right there. But not a bad play on O'Neill's part because there are 2 down. The guy's running the opposite direction, has to make a perfect throw and a perfect tag by Joey Cora. If he doesn't dive in there, more than likely O'Neill's going to be safe. So he gave up his body just to get in front of him. So good play there.
Tim McClellan, the umpire, right on top of the play, making the call.
And an excellent pitch there, I might add, by Dwight Gooden. He threw Griffey a fastball. If a guy's out in front of your fastball, you can afford to throw him a changeup. If he's late on your fastball, you don't throw him a changeup because he gets right on the target.
Now look at this, Joe. They're going to walk a right-handed hitter for the first base open to get to a left-handed hitter. Now, the ultimate respect paid to the great talent of Edgar Martinez. When's the last time you saw this?
I don't ever remember seeing this, and I haven't seen it in quite a while, but I tell you what, you're going to make Paul Sorrento pretty upset.
That's right. I mean, this guy had 25 home runs last year. already hit 10 this year.
But, John, it's like you mentioned, I mean, the Yankees have not been able to get Martinez out, not only this year, but last year as well. So they do not have a pattern of which they think they can get him out with. So they figure they're better off going to Sorrento, who they do know how to pitch. They have a pattern that they want to use with Sorrento, but none with Martinez.
This is Sorrento, been much better against the right-handers. And, of course, with Cleveland, he was a platoon player, only started against the right-handers, sat on the bench against the lefties. Well, Joe Torre is thrown away. That book, yeah. That's a curve for a strike. As Lou Piniella was telling a George Steinbrenner story before the game, where in this ballpark a few years back when Piniella managed the Yankees, he started Don Mattingly at third base. Steinbrenner calls him, "What are you doing?" He told him why, and says, "Well, you better be right, or you know what's going to happen."
I mean, I must admit, I mean, I haven't seen this done, maybe ever. And, I mean, this is a tough position to put your team in. You're only down 2 runs. I mean, if you pitch to Martinez, maybe gets a base hit, so what? But I think this is a difficult situation to put your team in.
The curveball, Mouse foul, Gooden ahead of him now. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 men on and 1 man out. Rodriguez at second base, Edgar Martinez at first base. So what McSorley just said, hey, this guy's one of the great hitters in the game. I'd rather face the lefty than one of the great right-hand hitters in the game.
Well, that may be true, but if you're Dwight Gooden on the mound, you say, I've made some mistakes pitching to him. I can't make a mistake in this situation. Let's face it, he got him out in the no-hitter, so he is capable of getting him out. So I guess my point is, what are you saying to your team? I really believe that Gooden would be better off pitching to him psychologically, just for the future, for 2 months from now, or whatever. Well, but Joe Torre is only thinking of today, and that's his job.
First base was open. He could have kind of pitched around it.
Right.
The curveball. This is hit too slowly to be a double play. And they do get Sorrento. He's not that fast. Duncan making the play with the runners advancing. Rodriguez to third. Edgar to second.
Nice play there by Duncan. That was a difficult play. He had to get it on the in-between hop. But see what happens now, John? You put 1 more runner in scoring position now. Chopper to the right side. Dwight can't get it. See, he gets it on the in-between hop. That's a tough hop, but he makes the play anyway. But both runners move up. Now you have 2 runners in scoring position.
Now Doug Strange. First base is open. Strange, a switch hitter, batting left-handed, has grounded out to third, and he has been called out on strikes. 4-2 the Mariners in the last of the 5th. Again, Gooden trying to keep his club in the game. And that's a strike. I mean, Gooden has had to make how many key pitches here just in the last 2 innings alone?
You know what, John? That will make him tougher, because obviously it was tough every pitch in the no-hitter from about the 7th inning on, no matter what happened before that. And I think that will make him mentally tough down the stretch, saying to himself, I have to make good pitches. I cannot make any mistakes now.
There's that curveball. And now he's ahead of Strange 0-2. He has 4 strikeouts in the game, all on curveballs.
I would take a look at this pitch. This is a beautiful pitch right on the outside corner. I mean, smart hitting by Strange not to attack it, because not much you can do with that pitch. That's a perfect pitch.
0-2 to Strange. 2 men in scoring position. This will be Dwight Gooden's 94th pitch of this game. Fastball up and in.
It's a good try. 0-2. He tried to get it up and get him to chase it. I think he got it in a little too tight. Otherwise, he may have offered it.
Marjukski only had him at 91 miles an hour with that last fastball. Fastball been a little bit better here since the first inning. 2 on, 2 out. Goes in there again and misses. 2-2.
There's Joe.
Joe.
And Joe, like you said, he probably didn't read that book that went around years and years ago that managers used to read. Who's managed by the book.
Don't do this. Don't walk a right-handed hitter with a lefty coming up. But he did. The curveball. Now, it's a bullpen. He had him 0-2. Missed with a couple of fastballs. Now he's missed with a curve. 3-2. He's got a right-handed hitter. But a tough one. Dan Wilson on deck.
Yeah, but I think you have to throw the curveball here because he's proven that if he makes a perfect pitch with the curveball, he can get him out.
Rodriguez at third. Edgar Martinez at second. Now, Girardi goes out in front of the plate. Signaling something out to Dwight Gooden.
Well, he's telling him which signal he's using.
Because the runner's at second.
Right. Well, because he may have thought that Martinez was trying to steal him. He's been there for a while, but he probably thought he was trying to steal him now.
There's the curve, and the Strange got a piece of it.
I think you have to throw him a curve. If you're in a position where this was the Doc Gooden of '85, where he threw 95+ miles an hour, then you'd say, okay, I'll just reach back and give him my best pitch. But I think in this situation, his best pitch, an out pitch to this left-hander, is the curveball over the outside part of the plate.
But did it look to you like Strange was expecting curveball there?
Well, it doesn't matter. Before, if you throw a 95, they expect a fastball, and they still can't hit it. I think his curveball is so good tonight they can't hit it.
This 86 miles an hour. Strange just got a piece of it.
But again, I mean, you have a lot of choices in this game. You throw breaking ball, so it makes the fastball look faster. But in my opinion, if you have to have a pitch from Dwight Gooden tonight to win the ball game, I think that pitch has to be a curveball.
In Seattle, and even here, in the midst of Mariner mania, there's some Dwight Gooden fans. There's that curveball, and this will get him out of the inning. Joe Torre, brilliant strategy.
Brilliant strategy, Joe.
Brilliant. Gino Martinez coming up, then Ruben Sierra, 4-2 Seattle, leading. Forgotten stories of this ballgame tonight, but a huge story indeed. 27 years of age. They sent Bill Risley to the Blue Jays as part of a trade to bring him here. And he just was brought back to the minor leagues tonight for this start, and he has done a great job. We're into the 6th inning. Lou Piniella told me before the game, Joe, that if he could get 6 innings out of Menhart, he'd be overjoyed. Because he says his bullpen's in real good shape after that. And Menhart is 1 inning away from making Lou Piniella overjoyed. Right back to Menhart. Gino Martinez, he's 0 for 3. 1 away. Happy Memorial Day weekend to you, everyone, wherever you are. Glad to be with you. And tomorrow, celebrate the holiday with baseball on ESPN, a doubleheader, 1:15 Eastern. 10:15 Pacific, the Colorado Rockies, Dante Bichette and company against Ray Lankford, and the St. Louis Cardinals of Tony La Russa. And then at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, from Oakland, Big Mo, the MVP in the American League, and the Oakland Athletics, Mark McGwire, had a big weekend in Baltimore. He's healthy again, and he's hitting those big flies again. Ruben Sierra, and that's a foul ball, strike 1. Ruben has singled and scored, and he has walked. Only 2 runs, 5 hits given up by Menhart so far. And one of those was unearned as a result of his own error. 4-2, the Mariners. But if you're a Mariner fan, you can kind of sense this from the crowd here, Joe. Feel a little uneasy about this game. You've had chances to break it open. You haven't done it. The Yankees are still right in there.
Well, I think you're right in that usually if you let a team hang around, especially a team that's on the road, they'll just hang around, all of a sudden something will happen. And also, I think the Yankees are a little inspired by the fact that Gooden has been able to come back and get out of a couple of jams.
Well, I remember your old friend Dave Stewart in his great days with the Oakland Athletics. Didn't always have the best ERA, but he always seemed to keep his close enough to have a chance to win.
And really, that's what you want from a starting pitcher. You want him to give your team a chance to win. And that's what Gooden is trying to do here, is stay close enough that, you know, if the Yankees were to explode, they could win this ball game.
And it's 3-2. Ruben, they have swung at ball 4 there. Menhart did not give in to him on 3-1. To the count. And that's a foul out of play. You know, we've got a crowd of probably in excess of 40,000. But you can hear they're very quiet now. A lot of noise early with the Mariners' big bats jumping on Dwight Gooden. But now they're, I don't know, a little tense maybe here at the Kingdome. Which is the way it should be when you got the Yankees and Mariners. in a rubber match of a 3-game set.
I don't know.
Look how tense that guy looks, Joe. Check swing for a base hit. Ruben Sierra has an infield single. Well, talking Dwight Gooden. And Gooden is a little bit different today as a pitcher than he was when he first came up in the early days. And my partner, Joe Morgan, asked him about the differences between then and now.
If I have a 3 or 4 run lead and say it's 5th or 6th inning, I'm kind of like rooting for my team to make the 3 outs so I can get back out on the field. Opposed to now, you just want to keep hitting, score 10, 15 runs if you can. It's never enough. But actually, I say, but it's more fun pitching now. It's a lot more fun pitching now because you definitely have to be into every pitch now, using more pitches. So I definitely got to be there where, 80-45 can just rub by and say, here it is, hit it.
And Dwight Gooden. And we've seen that tonight.
Yes.
Making some adjustments right during the game. Here's Mariano Duncan. High in the air to right. And that always makes everybody nervous here because it's so shallow out there. But this one stays in the park. Bragg makes the grab. Duncan is 0 for 3. 2 down quickly here in the 6th with Sierra still at first. And Gerald Williams is coming up.
When you're talking about Gooden or any other pitcher, John, you say, well, they know that a breaking ball is coming. Well, if that breaking ball is good, it doesn't matter. They still may not be able to hit it. It's like a guy that throws hard. If they say, I know a fastball is coming. They knew Nolan Ryan's fastball was coming most of the time, but they still couldn't hit it. So if that's your best pitch on that particular night, you have to use it.
Gerald Williams, 0 for 1. He was hit by a pitch the last time. And a curveball from Menhart. Nice. 0-1. Yanks trailing 4-2. Now the Yankees 6 times in their last 25 games, which means once every 4 games, have overcome leads of 3 runs by the opposition to win. That's 6 times in just 25 games. That's a foul. And they've been behind on 2 different occasions by 3 runs tonight. 3-0 and 4-1. Gerald Williams, I just have this feeling, Joe, he wouldn't mind planting one of the seats right now for being hit the last time. He was not happy. And hit just above the elbow.
Well, it's interesting they pitched him in last time. Now this at bat, they've thrown him 2 breaking balls away.
So they hit him to set him up for this at bat.
That may be right. At least that's probably what Gerald was thinking when they hit him. He says,
here's the 2-strike pitch now to Gerald. Fastball. High in the air to right. Bragg starts in. Now he goes back. You know it's not the wind blowing it. That's the inning. Menhart has given Piniella his 6th. 4-2 Seattle after 5 1/2.
Larry Beal in the studio with a look back at today's Braves-Pirates game. Tied at 3 in the 13th. Here it comes. There it goes. Marquise Grissom taking Dan Maselli deep for a 3-run shot and gone. 6-3 Braves in 13 the final. Back to Seattle, John and Joe.
All right, Larry, and we will be seeing the Braves in Cincinnati next Sunday night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. John Smoltz, I don't know. He's 10-1. We'd like to see him, but I don't know that he's going to be up next Sunday. We will see Fred McGriff and Chipper Jones and Ryan Klesko and the rest of them next Sunday against Barry Larkin, Eric Davis, and the Reds. Dan Wilson hits one very well, but to the wrong part of this ballpark. And it's caught easily by Ruben Rivera out there. And Wilson, after walking a couple times, he is retired in 1 pitch. And what a break for Gooden, who has now thrown 100 pitches. He's had to labor throwing a lot of, not only a lot of pitches, but a lot of tense pitches, clutch pitches. Well, you see he's thrown 36 times through that curveball, and more than 2/3 of his curveballs have been strikes, Joe.
well, that's why it's his best pitch tonight. I mean, he's able to throw it for a strike more often than he has with the fastball because the fastball seems to be moving out of the strike zone.
0-2. That's what we were talking about. Luis Sojo now 0-2. 4-2. The Mariners lead the Yankees here.
There are a lot of people that say, well, he's not throwing hard. Yeah, but what's the difference between a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and a great curveball if they can't hit it?
1-2. Most of his fastballs have been around 90. We haven't seen any of those 94, 95. Here's the curve. Boggs. Yeah. Boggs has become very reliable over the third base since coming to New York. You know, I asked Boggs about this before the game. then his life calmed down. And Boggs laughed, and he said, yeah, he says, it sounds strange, but it's really true. He says, I've had a very serene kind of life since I came to New York. Here's Joey Cora, 0 for 2. Line to right and struck out looking. There's that curve. And the 2 ball frame. 1 ball, no strikes.
See, John, I believe if you get in a situation in the future, if you're Dwight Gooden, and you can't give up a home run.
Fastball. Base hit. Mariano Duncan. Couldn't quite get there. The 6th hit for the Mariners, and it keeps the inning going for Darren Bragg.
I believe if you're in that situation and you're good, and you have to throw the curveball now, because first of all, it's harder to get the curveball in the air because it is biting very good and going down. So you're going to keep the ball in the ballpark. You know, I think if he thinks back, looking back over this ball game, when he reevaluates this performance, he's going to say, if I get runners on base, I'm going to have to throw the breaking ball. That will keep me from giving up a 3-run homer.
Darren Bragg. Now, Gooden has really handled him tonight. The only ball he's put in play was a comebacker to Gooden. He has struck out twice since then, both times on curveballs. 2 down. There's a fastball. It's 0-1. Joe Torre. Well, one thing Torre showed me, Joe, whether you agree with his move or not.
Right. Oh, no.
I mean, he was not afraid to make that move.
That's the great thing about baseball, John. There's always more than one way to get the job done. You know, I'm saying Dwight should use his breaking ball when he has to keep it in the park. That's true, but a well-placed fastball will work just as well.
I mean, he made a move with conviction.
Yes.
Not a move from weakness where you say, you know, if I do this and it doesn't work out, they're going to fry me.
Well, they probably would have.
They would have.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. You're right.
And we say they. I mean, maybe they would have on the talk shows and in the papers, but
and maybe you
maybe. Oh no, not me. Maybe even the owner of the Yankees might. You know, maybe.
Yes.
But the point was, it was a very controversial move, but he made it.
Right. No, look, I believe that managers should not always manage by the book. You manage by a feel. As I've said to you often this year, I think managing is tougher to do now than ever before, and it's more important than ever before.
Pitch out, but Cora was not running.
And the reason for that is because most teams do not have great pitching staffs anymore, and you have to make moves, you know, that you feel will help you get through the inning or to keep your team from giving up a bundle of runs. And that's exactly what he did there. So I think that Lou Piniella, all the managers have more decisions to make this year than ever before because of all the runs that are being scored.
And the curveball, and it missed.
And if you look back and you say, well, he kept them from scoring that inning, and if his team comes back and wins this ball game, you'd have to say that that move had a big effect on the way that this game was played out. But Joe was never afraid.
No. Well, I think that's been his strength.
Yes.
As the Yankee manager so far this year. I mean, Joe, what happened? They called a balk?
No. Well, I guess they did. So the pitch doesn't count.
The ball was fouled away.
So the pitch does not count.
So it's no pitch. Had he hit a base hit now, then they could have accepted that instead of the ball. Let's take a look here, Joe.
You be the analyst. Let me be the play-by-play guy on that one.
Well, Joe, what happened here was they called a balk, enabling the man to move up an extra base.
Okay.
Two ball legal movement on the part of the pitcher. That's a balk.
Okay, it's 2 balls and 1 strike, 2 outs.
Now, what that illegal movement was, I have no idea. Well, maybe, Joe, he didn't come to that complete stop. There's a curveball for a strike. 2 and 2 to Bragg. That could be a very important call, right?
Yes, it could be.
Base hit could mean a run now. I don't know. Maybe did he kick the leg before he'd even stopped yet? I don't know.
You're the analyst.
Maybe something with the back leg, Joe? Well, if you can't explain this, I'm going to bring Bill Russell in. I'm going to find somebody who can explain this, Joe. I'm sorry, Joe. You've been great for 7 years, but now you're not giving me what I need, baby.
Well, I was watching his hands, and it didn't seemed like they broke too quickly, but apparently he did something wrong.
Bullpen activity, meanwhile, for the Yankees. We've got Alex Rodriguez on deck, and then Griffey behind him. 2 down in the 6th inning. The curve. That's foul. Still 2-2. With 2 down, Cora single. Just out of the reach of Mariano Duncan. And then the balk. Let's take another look here.
Yeah, let's take another look at this balk. The only thing they could have called is they did not come to a pause. You know, he didn't pause long enough.
That's got to be.
I mean, that's the only thing they could have called.
All right. Well, we solved that. 2-2. Curveball. Strike 3 call. The Mariners are 1 for 8 as a team in their at-bats with men in scoring position. The ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week. John Miller and Joe Morgan, your Sunday night telecasters. We head to the late innings now. Inning number 7.
John, I don't feel so bad. You asked Reggie Jackson where was the balk, and he didn't see it either. So, you know.
Yeah, Reggie came through for you in the clutch
Yes,
at the
he
end.
did.
And there's ball 1 to Ruben Rivera. He has single home run, and then he was thrown out on one of the outstanding plays of the night. The barehanded grab of a bounding ball by Luis Sojo. Rivera 1 for 2. His 4th major league game of the year. He's hitting .500, 5 for 10. Menhart. That's a foul. Menhart into the 7th now. Pinella said he'd be overjoyed to get 6 out of the young right-hander. Last 10 games, the Mariners starters have averaged less than 5 innings, as you can see.
That's why he was happy to get 6, right?
Yeah. And his bullpen is well set up for the late innings. And his closer, Charlton, is well rested. That is a ball. 2-1. There is bullpen activity in each bullpen right now. Both the Mariners and the Yankees. Derek Jeter on deck, then Wade Boggs. Here in the 7th. 4-2 Seattle. Curveball, and that's too low. 3-1 in Seattle's bullpen. Left-hander Tim Davis is warming up. In the Yankee bullpen, the former Mariner, big right-hander Jeff Nelson, begins to heat up. 3-1 the count. Came after with that high fastball, and Ruben Rivera found it back to the screen.
Rivera looks a little more mature than I thought he would. He's able to lay off of the breaking balls, even though he knows they're throwing him a lot of them. He's been able to lay off, not chase them out of the strike zone, and he's had a fastball to hit every time up.
3-2 the count. And he threw on the breaking ball at 3-2. And he walked him, and he may have put himself out of this ball game. We'll see. Although Pinella only has a left-hander up in his bullpen with the right-hander batting Jeter coming up. Boggs a lefty on deck.
I guarantee you that Pinella would question that pitch selection there. Throwing a 3-2 curveball, you know, leading off an inning, the last thing you want to do is walk someone because that brings the tying run to the plate.
Although, you know, interesting story. A week ago, when you and I were in Detroit, the Mariners blew a lead in Baltimore when a Mariner pitcher shook off the sign from the catcher. Did not throw the pitch that was called for by Daniels. And Pinella afterwards said, no more shaking off the signs. If the catcher wants it, you throw that, and that's it.
So I guess maybe the catcher called it.
Well, here comes Pinella now. He's fallen behind Jeter. 1 ball and no strikes. Jeter, the young Yankee phenom, doubled off the big scoreboard in right center in the 5th inning and scored a run. So Pinella walking very slowly out there. With his left-hander, Tim Davis, heating up in the bullpen.
Well, Pinella says when he goes to the mound, he's not going out to talk about mechanics or anything like that. He wants to know why they can't throw strikes. And if he doesn't get the answer he wants, he says, makes a move.
Well, he's going to stay with it. This Friday at 4 Eastern, ESPN begins its 17th consecutive season of College World. And back to the bag at first is Rivera. Menhart, by the way, has now thrown 97 pitches in this game. Middle infield, double play depth for Jeter, who runs well. That is 2 lows. You see the Jugs gun reading. 2-0. So after walking Ruben Rivera, now he's 2-0 to Jeter. 2-0 the count. Wade Boggs, you get into real trouble. You put this guy on with the top of the order coming out. Rivera at first. This should be 2. Corner, the second one. Rodriguez back to first. 2. Double play. That's the second time in the last 3 innings that Menhart got the big double play ball just when he needed it. And ironically, this time, it's the double play ball that actually takes him out of the game. With Boggs coming up, Tim Davis will come in, and a job well done by Paul Menhart tonight. We'll be back. And here is Wade Boggs against Tim Davis from the Kingdome. 2 down and nobody on. Mariners out front 4-2, and Davis, the lefty, with a pretty good slider. 19 innings pitched this year, 15 hits allowed. He's been tough to hit. And that slider on the outside for a strike to Boggs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Boggs didn't think so.
No, Boggs thought it was away. But that's basically what Tim Davis throws as a breaking ball. He comes in, especially for left-handers, he basically throws them a lot of breaking balls.
Inside this time. Although I don't think that was the intention there. That's where the catcher was set up anyway.
No, that was a breaking ball that didn't do anything. It was a breaking ball that just didn't break.
2-1 to Boggs. Boggs is hitting .333. I mean, you didn't even have to ask, really. He's always hitting .333 unless he's hitting better.
Well, you know there's a 3 in front of him. That's for sure.
2-2 to Boggs. He singled home a run. Swinging at the first pitch in the 5th inning. Do that just maybe once a month when it feels people are taking liberties with him or something. Slowly. Davis has got to get over the hustle. He's limping. Davis hurt himself. They got him. That's the inning. We go to the last of the 7. The big guns are coming up again for the Mariners. Rodriguez, Griffey, and Edgar Martinez. 42,410 the paid crowd tonight at the Kingdome. Sunday night baseball. We're into the last of the 7th. Mariners 4, the Yankees 2, and we have seen the last of Doc Gooden. But let's go back now to the play in which Tim Davis apparently got hurt, Joe.
Well, watch him. He's running okay, but then right there he starts to hobble. And it, you know, looks like it's his right leg. I'm not sure. No, maybe it's his left leg.
Well, it's one of them. I know that.
Yeah, one of the 2.
There's Jeff Nelson, the former Mariner, coming out of relief of Dwight Gooden. Gooden went 6 innings. You see, Nelson's numbers are very poor for this new ball club. Last year, he was just outstanding here in Seattle, but he has struggled, including in this ballpark Friday. He gave up a 3-run homer to Ken Griffey on Friday. He may be on just to face the one man because the left-hander, Howe, is throwing in the Yankee bullpen. Alex Rodriguez, a strike. Rodriguez has singled, homered, and doubled. He has 3 parts of the cycle. He's lacking the triple. He fluffs the bucket and takes a slider for a strike on the outside. Jeff Nelson, 6 feet 8 inches tall. Blossomed kind of late. He's from Baltimore and started in the Dodgers organization as a starting pitcher. And struggled terribly. Bounced around for many years before he found a home here in Seattle as a relief pitcher.
Well, he's really tough on the right-handers because he kind of comes sidearm and you're not used to picking the ball up from that lower delivery. And he has a pretty good breaking ball.
Nelson's glove. Jeter, not in time. Great play by Jeter, but look at the speed of Rodriguez.
Well, both of these shortstops can fly. I mean, I watched Jeter run out that last double play ground ball he hit, and I mean, he was really getting down the line. And you see Jeter kind of smiling. He thought he was going to be able to get him, but Rodriguez gets out of the box quickly, off balance. He still gets enough on the throw. That's just a lot of speed there by Rodriguez. See, he's moving as towards first base. When he hit it, you can see, I mean, he can pick it up and lay him down.
Steve Howe gets the call with Ken Griffey Jr. coming up. Alex Rodriguez now hitting .369. We'll be back. Steve Howe comes on now before the big crowd here at the Kingdome with Ken Griffey Jr. at the plate. Alex Rodriguez at first. The Mariners already leading 4-2. Rodriguez back to the bat. On Friday in this ballpark, Griffey hit one of his 3 home runs against Steve Howe. Howe with a 7.15 ERA for the year. Nobody out. Griffey shows bunt. Takes low. Was he kidding, Joe?
Yes. I think he just wanted to take a look at a pitch, and he decided he might as well make a bunt.
Steve Howe, veteran lefty. And no bunt shown there. Too high. It is 2-0. Both bullpens are busy. Steve Howe is the 3rd Yankee pitcher. Jeff Nelson faced just 1 hitter, Alex Rodriguez, who got an infield single against him. Now Jim Messier, another former Mariner, is warming up in the Yankee bullpen. Edgar Martinez on deck. Shallow right, could be trouble. O'Neill is there, and he makes the catch. Just stayed up there forever, and O'Neill, who had started back on the swing of Griffey, had to circle back around and come in a hurry, but he got there.
Well, Griffey has been swinging just under the ball most of the evening. That was a pretty good pitch for him to hit. Fastball middle of the plate in, but he got under it.
Edgar Martinez, his 3-run homer in the first inning. That's still the big hit of the game. And what a shot it was. Into the second deck. Only the 6th time that anybody has ever hit one into the second deck in left field in the Kingdome. And the first time in 8 years. Now look at this. 571 he hit against the Yankees in that division series last October. Already 9 RBIs against them this year in 5 games.
Yeah, but look at it the other way. They've gotten him out 13 times.
And they're hoping that Steve Howe will make it 14 here very quickly. And he's leaving the lefty in to face Edgar Martinez. 1-1 the count. Edgar, after the home run, lined out to short, and then he was walked intentionally in the 5th inning by a right-hander with a left-handed hitter on deck. And it worked. In the right center field. One bounce against the wall. Rodriguez heading for 3rd, and he's held up. A double for Edgar Martinez.
Rodriguez is hitting himself on the head over there at 3rd base because he should have been able to score on that ball, John.
First baseman Paul Sorrento.
Fastball, it was at the middle of the plate in, but he shoots it in the right center field. See, that ball is in. You can see him pull his hands in and just rifle that ball in the gap. And see, Rodriguez, something must have happened around here because, well, he slows down right there, but the coach is slowing him down. So I'm still surprised that he wasn't able to score.
John McLaren holding him up. Now the Yankees bring the infield in for Paul Sorrento. Well, Joe Torre has surprised us a couple of times. There's a slider. Swung on and missed. I mean, he had the right-hander, as we said, walk him. Now he leaves the left-hander in to pitch to him. And then Edgar shows us why he had Dwight walk him the last time. His 26th double of the year. Sorrento, the left-handed hitter. Howe with a 1-1 count on Sorrento. This, again, this could be the key to the Yankees' ability to come back and win this ball game right here. The Mariners, though, have not been able to get the big hit tonight with those men in scoring position. They are 1 for 8 as a team. The only hit they've gotten in the clutch spot from Edgar Martinez. That will keep the runner at 3rd. This is Jeter. And he very calmly throws out Sorrento. They're 1 for 9 now in these at-bats in the clutch. And that leaves it to Doug Strange, a switch hitter. Even a fly ball could have gotten a run home there. They didn't even need a hit to get the run. And Neil Sorecto not hitting against the left-handers here with Seattle when he's getting a shot to. Of course, in Cleveland, he didn't even get that shot more often than not. Here is Strange, switch hitter. He'll bat right-handed down, and he's only had 2 right-handed at-bats all year. They use him almost exclusively on the left side. Right field, there is O'Neill. And the Yankees are still breathing in this one. The Mariners 1 for 10, and they have left 7 men in scoring position in those at-bats. Girardi, O'Neill, and Tino. Edgar Martinez, 3-run homer. Alex Rodriguez, a solo shot for the 4 Mariner runs. And now the ESPN Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week continues. John Miller, Joe Morgan with you. Joe Girardi coming up. And a couple of changes for the Mariners. The new pitcher, Norm Charlton. And he's the Mariner closer. And Lou Piniella going to ask him to close one with a couple of innings, which was very commonplace to see Charlton do that, especially late last year. The batter, Joe Girardi, 0 for 3. Into deep left center field. Griffey on the run. He's there now.
Well, I guess he said I'm not hitting tonight. I prefer a little show in the outfield.
Well, did that ball fool him a little bit at the last show? What happened there?
I don't think it fooled him. He just looked like he got there and then decided that he liked the way Willie Mays made that catch in the World Series. See, he's there. He's there in plenty of time.
To be Ken Griffey Jr.
You're right. To have that much talent.
Here's Paul O'Neill. He fouls it off to the left. Well, you know, with the top of the order coming up here, with Girardi, and then O'Neill, and then Tino Martinez, the power guys, maybe Piniella said, hey, the save inning is the 8th inning. I want my best guy in this inning.
Well, I mean,
and he's well rested.
And let's face it, in the past, you know, the relievers went 2 innings, maybe sometimes 3 innings to get a save.
Unusual nowadays.
Yeah.
Not so unusual a few years back.
But the idea is to win the ball game, as you said.
Channel left, the new left fielder, Rich Amaral, in a hurry. And he's got it! The defensive play of the night, and Piniella just put him in there for Strange at the start of this inning. They hadn't even introduced him as a defensive replacement. The PA man just introducing him now as Owen.
Fastball up and in, and O'Neill just swings at it. Doesn't get much of it, but Amaral comes in, and he does the slide and comes up with it. Nice play. Nice play right there.
It's the full speed look at it. Here is Tino Martinez. 2 down and nobody on. Charlton, one of those nasty boys a few years back with Cincinnati.
And he's still nasty. If you're left-handed, especially.
Well, Paul O'Neill sitting by the water cooler. O'Neill very intense. And, of course, that was a big play. I mean, he would have been on base, and Tino would have had a chance to tie the game. And all of a sudden, all of these cups came flying out of the corner of the Yankee dugout, Joe. We didn't see O'Neill do it. It's circumstantial evidence case here, Joe. But I think we can prosecute it. Here is Rodriguez. And the Yankees go down in order. A 6-pitch inning for Charlton. 4-2, Seattle. Sunday Night Baseball, 4-2 Mariners. We go to the last of the 8th inning here in Seattle before more than 40,000 fans. Tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. It's Tuesday on ESPN, 7:30 Eastern. Jim Messier, a former Mariner, on the pitch for the Yankees. Dan Wilson has walked twice and flied to center as he faces Messier. A fly ball to O'Neill. Collected his thoughts a bit. Makes the catch. But, you know, you have to appreciate O'Neill. I mean, there was nobody to be mad at. It was almost like that was a huge hit to have taken away from his team.
Are you saying that he did it?
If, you know, allegedly. The Yankees were the 1-game lead over Baltimore. Baltimore today defeated Oakland 6-1 back of Kent Mercker and Roger McDowell. The Orioles will be a half game out if the Mariners won this game. And there's ball 1. And, of course, for the Yankees, more of the same out west. They come out here last year. They were 3-16 in the regular season. Now, for Seattle, very important to win this one. Texas is winning consistently. The Mariners would move back to within 3.5 if they can hold on to win here. 1 ball, 1 strike to Soho. He's 0 for 3, but he made a couple of very nice defensive plays.
But if you're the Mariners, you're trying to stay close until you get your rotation straightened out and you get the big unit, Randy Johnson, back.
Into the hole, Jeter. A long throw now to make. Look at that arm.
These young shortstops, John, they're not long throws to them.
Man,
they're just flips across the infield.
They put on a show tonight. Jeter for the Yankees, and especially Alex Rodriguez.
Well, this is usually a tough play, but this is how you measure a shortstop, how they make the play deep in the hole. And you see Jeter straightens up and fires a strike right across with just a clothesline. I mean, look at that. Nice throw, nice arm.
2 down, and here is Joey Cora. His single last time. He's 1 for 3, plus the bunt. 4-2, Seattle. Last of the 8th inning. And the changeup misses. Now, in the 9th inning, as we look ahead a little bit, the Yankees' last chance will feature Ruben Sierra, Mariano Duncan, and Gerald Williams against the left-handed Norm Charlton. And they have Bernie Williams available, one of their top players, just back from the disabled list today. He will not start again, though, until tomorrow when they get to Anaheim. Should they didn't want to use it. Center field, Ruben Rivera. And that does it. Sear retires the Mariners in order. So they'll have to make do with a 4-2 lead. Yanks coming up, their last chance. Ruben. Seattle 4, Yanks 2 as we go to the 9th inning. Dwight Gooden tonight went 6 innings. Struggled early especially, but he kept his club in the game. 5 strikeouts, 4 runs allowed. Alex Rodriguez, a big night, 4 for 4. And Edgar Martinez, 2 for 3. His homer was a 3-run shot. Still right now, the game resting pretty much on that 3-run homer. Coming up Wednesday, a doubleheader. The Dodgers at the Phillies, Hideo Nomo and Curt Schilling, who's back and pitching as well as he ever did. The second half, the Yankees from Anaheim, Paul O'Neill, the Angels, Jim Edmonds and company. Excellent doubleheader. Here's Ruben Sierra, base hit into the alleyway, and he will keep on running to second base, and he'll pull up there as Griffey returns it. And the Yankees are in this game yet. Down by 2, and Duncan coming up.
Well, Sierra has always been a real good hitter from the right side. He's stronger, and he gets this fastball, and he just rips it over the head of Joey Cora, but he hit it so hard it went all the way to the wall, and he ends up at second base with a double, leadoff double here in the 9th. His run doesn't mean anything, though.
Unless somebody behind him also can score. Being on base makes Duncan the possible tying run.
Well, what you have to do if you're the Mariners is play like he's not even there. So if there's a base hit to the outfield, you automatically throw to second base. You try to keep Mariano Duncan from moving into score position because he is the tying run.
And interestingly, the Mariners are not playing the exaggerated infield defense that you sometimes see, or you usually see, with the third and first baseman hugging the foul line. Foul back. 1 ball, 1 strike. You see the Seattle defense here playing a rather normal alignment.
Well, a lot of managers will only do that if it's a tie ball game, you know, tie score. It's a matter of philosophy. Do you do it all the time, or do you do it, in a tie ball game? You don't want to give up a double.
1 ball, 1 strike. Charlton missing badly there. 2-1. The double for Sierra is his 3rd hit of this game. Ruben, 3 for 3 for the run scored. You mentioned better as a right-handed hitter coming into this game, hitting .345 right-handed, .230 left-handed.
Right.
Outfield deep. 2-1 to Duncan. To the right side. And Sorrento let that one play him. He just did get him at first. A little anxious moment for Mariners fans here. And Sierra makes it to third base.
Well, the ball bounced up high, so Sorrento took his time. He gave it to Charlton in plenty of time, but Charlton slowed down to make sure he got his steps right. and Duncan hustling all the way, almost tied him there at first base.
Well, here is Gerald Williams, and he's got pretty good power. He's the possible tying run. Ball 1. Charlton pitched last on Thursday at Fenway Park and had the rather, I'd say, indignity of giving up a base hit to a pitcher. Roger Clemens singled against him at Fenway on Thursday. And a foul ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. And Bernie Williams, we mentioned Bernie, just off the disabled list today. He is out on deck. And he would pinch hit for the young Ruben Rivera, who is due up next. Bernie, been one of the Yankees' top hitters the last couple of years. 4-2, the Mariners on top. The Yankees, their first West Coast trip of the year, and they're in danger of losing 2 out of 3 in the first series on that trip. Stay tuned now. Sports Center comes up right after the ball game. The Indy 500 and the U.S. 500. Highlights of both. The Sonics take command of the NBA playoffs, and a Sunday conversation between Joe Morgan and Dwight Gooden. That'll get the run home. So throws out Gerald Williams. So 2 down with nobody on, and it's a 1-run game. And Bernie Williams will take his best shot here to keep the Yankees alive in this one. 4-3 the score now.
Batting for Rivera, number 51, Bernie Williams.
Bernie had a pulled muscle in his left calf, and he tried to play on it. It was just too painful. Gave him a few days off. Still no improvement, so finally they put him on the disabled list, and just today they brought him off. They sent Scott Kamenecki out, back to the minor leagues. Kamenecki was getting clobbered. Now Bernie has some power, and particularly as a right-handed hitter. He's averaged 1 homer every 11.7 at-bats from the right side this year. And it was a similar story last year. Power versus power. 0-1.
A little tough situation for Bernie because he hasn't faced live pitching for a while. And Norm Charlton is one of the best pitchers in the league. And you can see the Mariners are going right after him with a fastball, because if you have not stood in the batter's box and faced 90-mile-an-hour fastballs for a couple of weeks, it's a little difficult to do.
Everybody, all 42,000 plus on their feet now at the Kingdome, hoping that through the sheer force of their will that they can help Charlton wrap it up right here. This is the sound we heard so often last September and October in the Kingdome. And the breaking ball, but it was outside. 1-2 to Bernie Williams. Derek Jeter on deck. He would be next. 1-2 the count. Charlton seems to be disagreeing with Wilson on what pitch to throw. Bernie calls for time momentarily. Now here we go. Struck him out. The Mariners take the series from the Yankees. A whole lot of Edgar Martinez with the 3-run homer. And then Norm Charlton wraps it up.
Well, this is the splitter. There you see the tumbling. After throwing a guy all those heaters, he had to try to hurry up and catch up with the fastball, so he takes a little off.
Next Sunday, we'll be in Cincinnati. Fred McGriff and the Atlanta Braves, Barry Larkin, Eric Davis, and the Cincinnati Reds, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. We hope you'll join us then. Doc Gooden tonight, beaten. And you'll be hearing from Doc again on the Sports Center following the game. Edgar Martinez with the big blow, the 3-run shot. Again, Edgar beats the Yankees. Alex Rodriguez, a 4-hit game. The Mariners do it again. John Miller, Joe Morgan. Good night.